What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the DigiTavern. I am one half of your host of the DigiTavern podcast, J114, also known as Dwani. I also run the Dwani Plays podcast, the little segment that we have every so often in the tavern. And I want to invite you to a new adventure, a new story. And it doesn't mean that any of our other stuff is ending. It just means that I'm finally getting to a place where I want to talk about something that I've wanted to talk about since the beginning of the DigiTavern, and that's D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time here, and it's one of those topics that I can't really talk too much with Adam or Fredo on the podcast, because when I do, I can go on for a very long time. And I mean, look at that. Look at this, right? I mean, like, I think every DM should be branded, and I am. So, but it's not something that I can talk about with them because they're players in my campaign, or in our campaign, I should say. And I can't give away any secrets. And I used to be able to talk to my girlfriend about this, but now she's joined playing with us, so I can't talk to her. So I'm going to talk to you instead. And I want to open up the book of everything that I do as far as a DM is concerned. It's something that I think I'm pretty good at, but I don't think I'm supremely amazing at it. But I would like to get into the world of DMing through social media. I want to showcase the things that we do, the things we are capable of doing, because I think D&D is just an open community where everyone is pretty much just willing to share anything and everything with everyone. And that's one of the beautiful things about D&D, honestly. One of my favorite segments in the DigiTavern podcast was the NPC segment that we did with Garrett of 225 Games and Ariella of Ariella Games. Being able to play or talk D&D with them was awesome, because it scratched an itch that I didn't realize that I had, which was, I want to talk about D&D. And I want to talk about it a lot because, like I said, I used to talk about our campaign with my girlfriend, and I would just like chew her ear off, tell these stories about these characters, about these people, and she just enjoyed it. And maybe it's because she just liked me. That's probably why. But I just feel like it's such a fun thing to talk about. And it's not something that I don't think our campaign will ever be on the internet. It will never be something that we stream, because it's a time for us. But the thing is, like, I have so many ideas in my head that I want to get out there into the world with you guys. And maybe you'll help me. I want to talk campaign ideas, world exploration, storylines, quests, magic items, maybe even new worlds and realms that I've never even thought of, variant rules sets, crazy voices, new ways of doing techniques, new storytelling styles and techniques and procedures. I want to go over everything. I want to do it all because it's so much fun, and I think it's a part of the DigiTavern that we are really about, but we don't really talk about too much because we're so kind of hyper focused sometimes on video games or video game news or immersion. But this right here, D&D, is the height of immersion, especially the way we do it, which is music, handouts, voices, just everything that I try to do at the table for my group is to bring out that immersion, because immersion is the thing that drives us here at the DigiTavern, and I want to share that. So, like I said, this is going to be purely about Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to open up the book from the very beginning of Cave Bear Killers to Cave Bear Killers, because it went from killers to killers at one point, to many failed DM experiences in between, to finally the Guardians of the Grove. So, without further ado, I welcome you to the DM's table, of the DigiTavern. I'm your DM, JC. So hopefully you enjoy this story as we adventure now on this new path together. Let's get session 1 going. Or appropriately, session 0 going. Welcome to the DigiTavern, and I hope you guys stick with us.